How's it going, everyone? Will here, Willderjess Van Build Adventures. Today we're working on making a kitchen drawer slide out that's going to go in the rear of the van here, something we can house and contain and be a ready-made unit that can pull out for our 17-inch Blackstone. And we also have our 2-burner propane Coleman stove over here. Old trusty, been on many a trip. This Blackstone, this thing is incredible. Cooks a steak super fast, cooks everything you need. You can do so much on it, which both of these are going to be propane, which we're going to hook it. We bought some heavy duty locking drawer slides off of Amazon. These have about a 40-inch range, which both of these together side by side are pretty close to that. And so we have our leftover 80/20 from our roof rack, in which we're going to just cut and make the approximate width of this. I don't want it too long to where then it takes up some room into our precious room that is the underneath of the van there in the garage area. But want it just to be able to be functional, where you can have the slide out, have a little cooking area, but have it be its own contained shelf drawer that's easily accessible. You don't have to set stuff up, and you can just pull up to camp, pull it out, do what you need, and get going. This is our 17-inch Blackstone. Got the phone up there for size comparison. But you can cook quite a few steaks and basically whatever you need to cook on this thing for 2 people. Which we also got our old trusty Coleman 2-burner propane stove. So you see both of them are going to line up. This is our slide here, so they're right there at the width. You got the pegs that the thing actually stands on, you know, in which, so it'll be able to fit on our slide, and then we'll make some kind of little pull out type cutting board stuff to be able to set stuff on and work. We're going to put it over on this side, which is the driver's side of the van. It'll kind of block stuff from, you know, going over to our electrical system in there, and which is not going to go all the way to the back there. There's still going to be some space, so we can be able to, you know, add electrical if we needed later, or be able to come in, you know, from the side with another, you know, camping tote or something another. But it'll come out, you know, sit right here, so you'll be able to work and cook. Would have liked to put it over here, but over here you got our new addition of the gas water heater, and so as it closes on the inside of the door there, that kind of limits the space on our stopping point for the slide out, and so you wouldn't be able to have the maximum pull out, because this has to, you know, this has to have the little spot to recess in. So we're going to put it over here, so it won't really make a difference. Be able to move them if we need to. Which the kicker with this is, the more heavy duty of a drawer slide you go with, the more profile they have. These are 2-inch, which we're working with 1.5 80/20. And you say, well, just order more 80/20. Well, this stuff ain't cheap, and I got 3 full sticks of this 1.5 15 series, so I'm gonna make it work. Which the problem is not mounting the drawer slide to the 80/20. It'll be able to do that. It's this height here, so you can see the height difference. The drawer slide is basically a 1/2 inch higher than the 1.5 80/20. Which, when we mount it, the 80/20 is going to mount in the middle of this 2-inch profile, so then it'll leave us a 1/4 inch sticking up. So we'll just have to make a spacer, which just make out of wood, screw it to this, and then we'll be able to screw our components to that piece of wood to be able to mitigate the gap. But mounting it flush to the floor means that you got to have a little bit of space lifted up for this to run on. So we'll still be able to mount it basically close to the floor, having a little bit of space on the bottom, a 1/4 inch gap. But the where it'll slide and function right, in which to mount it, it's going to take a 2x4. I'm going to cut this down on the table saw there to the same 2-inch width as our drawer slide here, and then we'll be able to mount that to the 80/20. So first thing we got to do to get this is we got to cut our 80/20. And this is a full stick. I think it's like 102 inches or something like that. Which, to minimize on the width and how much it takes up, you know, in the floor of the van, I'm going to take and mount the slide on the inside of the 80/20. Which, so then all that'll be on the outside, you know, is the 80/20. And both slides will be on the inside running like this. So problem arises is being able to get into the latch here to make it, you know, function the slide. We'll figure that out shortly. But so far we got to cut us some 2x4s that we can mount the drawer slide to, like this. Mount the slide of the 2x4. We have to lower the height of the 2x4. So the slide is a 2-inch slide. We're going to cut the 2x4 to 2¼ inches. So then the slide will be 1/4 inch off the floor of the van. So then once you mount the 80/20 into the slide, the center of the slide is 1 inch. So that leaves a 1/4 inch as well at the top of the drawer slide track here. We're going to make about a 3/8 tall spacer or so that'll then clear from the 80/20 up over the drawer slide. So then it will be able to slide and work right without hitting the top of this, and will be clearing, you know, as it slides across. So first thing we got to do is cut the 80/20 and make our frame, in which then we can cut the 2x4s and bolt the roof and bolt the drawer slide to the 2x4, and then pretty much just have to bolt it in the van. Alright, we got it roughly laid up here. I believe I'm going to cut it at 43 inches, which with the lever here on the inside, that'll still give us some room to reach around and make it function. Chop 80/20 with pretty much any chop saw. You just want to, you know, pay attention when you're cutting it. Go slow and let the blade come to a complete stop. Get this thing cut. Let's see what we got. 43 on the dot. Well, we got some of our 80/20 components here. Hardware. These are 5/16 size bolts, which they're flat Allen hex head. And pretty much with these work to go into the slot of the 80/20, which it simply screws together. It creates a clamping, squeezing action in the track of the 80/20. So we're going to put it in the track of our drawer slide here, which it works pretty good. It has some clearance, but the bolts are too long, so we're going to have to grind them off a little bit, shorten them up. But then we'll see, we'll just be able to mount it into the 80/20 and tighten it up. So we're going to do 4 on each side. So we'll trim some of these off. Alright, cool. Well, we made it work with our bolts that we shaved down, which we got 4 of them in each hole here, each mounting position. But you still got to drill this out, which I showed that to y'all earlier. So we got our slide unit here, which got it bolted to it. So now we just have to bolt, you know, this to our 2x4, and then we'll be able to mount it into the floor of the van. You see, locking mechanism, lock, hit the mechanism, flip the switch, slide it out, and it locks in the first position, and then it fully out as well. So that's halfway. No, that's all the way. Yeah, so that's completely extended. Now we got left and right Like I said, the 80-20 will be on the outside, the slides will be in the middle, concealed. And we'll have to build in a little lip, we'll have to build us a spacer. You can see the roof rack, the drawer slide sticks up above the 80-20. So we'll have to put us a piece of wood on top of this. We'll bolt to the 80-20 in the same fashion we did with the slides with the same fasteners. That'll create our flat surface. Then we'll just mount, a sheet of plywood at the top and our drawers and components and stuff. So, all right, now we got make our 2x4 that the drawer slide mounts to. You can see we got a line drawn here. That's a 2-inch mark there, which is the width of the slide. So I'm gonna rip it on the table saw at 2 1/4. So then the top of the slide hits flush with the top of the 2x4, but then we have a little bit of a gap down at the bottom, so the drawer slide just isn't sitting on the floor and it's supported up onto the 2x4. Well, that's pretty cool. Show a look how straight this 2x4 is. That's a good one. Been laying on the floor for a few months. You definitely want to mount drawer slides to something that's straight. They will not function too good. So that's cool. Alright, well, we cut one side flat, which now we're running down to make it 2 1/4 inches. Alright, now we got a 2 1/4 inch block. We can mount it to our drawer slides. Alright, so now we got Craig holes where we can mount the 2x4 to the floor of the van. So now we just need to mount our drawer slide tracks here to the actual 2x4. So now we just need to figure out basically what width we want. The Coleman stove is about 12 inches, but the Blackstone, it can sit in about 10 inches, but as far as for the feet pedestal. So I think we're gonna make this 14 inches. All right, guys, now we got our frame made and everything basically bolted together for the drawer slide out assembly, or shelf, whatever you want to call it. Both locks functioning. You can see mechanism works. I ain't got it bolted to the table. We do have a block here, which is the spanner, pretty much just keeping the dimensions of it square. We got this gap here, but we got it held in the front by our 80-20 again. You see, back lock. So let's see if it'll pull all the way out. That's all the way extended. So it goes pretty much 40 inches. Back this way a little bit. And so, the stove will be here, and then the Blackstone I think will be at this end, but I may swap it around. Just kind of have to play with it and see. So let's see if we can get it to go back in. So now what we got to do, if you can see, we got a little bit of a lip here. Back to the conundrum of the 80-20 width compared to the profile width, the side width of the drawer slide. So this is 2 inches, this is 1.5 inches, but this is mounted on the middle of the 2-inch distance. So we only got a 1/4 inch lip here to get over, because we have to get the shelf mounted to the 80-20 track, and if the shelf is hitting this, it's not going to slide. So we're going to build us some spacers out of this 2x4 that we cut off of here, that are basically a little bit higher than this deck height. So then we put it here, and then we'll be able to put our plywood top on it to mount our stove components. And so we're going to take and just make some spacers along here, so then we still may be able to use the 80-20 for something and make it a little more modular and hook into. We got us a cover cut, and then we'll make the spots on the, mark the spots on the corners where we drill the holes and mount it. We got it the exact dimension. Alright, I think we're pretty much complete with it for now. They can do some additions later, but I think we're pretty much where I want it. Let's see if we can do it one-handed. No, we got it popped now. Here's the drawer. Just kind of held in with tension. Got it on the slide part, so we can set pots and pans and stuff on this. Kind of use it for a shelf and cutting board. Just wedges back in there. So we'll pull it off the table here and mount it in the van. Well, we got it installed in the van. We slapped it in there. It was pretty easy to install because we, basically made the whole thing on the table. And so the whole unit was able to just lay here and then kind of line it up and get it straight where I want. And we screwed it down. We got the hinges working. Just push both of them down. Pull it on out till it locks. Pretty solid. These are 100-pound rated drawer slides, which all of this is in no way near that. This stove's probably like 5 or 6 pounds, I don't know. This thing may be like 20, but it's definitely pretty solid. It comes straight out. It's a good angle. It's got a little wobbliness, but it's not too bad. It'll definitely do what we need, and it's not taking up the entire space. There's still a little slot back in the back part there where you can put something behind it. But we did mess up a little bit. In the original plan, the Blackstone was coming out here. Then I got to thinking about weight, which this is heavier, so it's going to create more counterweight at the end and more shiftiness. So I opted to put it back in the back. Made this nice little spot here in which we got a shelf, a little drawer that slides out, and just made it wedge in, and got it, pulls out, and you can, do your stuff and sit things on it and slide it back in. But see a problem here? We're cooking steaks under the dang bed. Don't really want to season our mattress with the scent of T-bone, and which you can argue that fact at the same point with the stove here, and if you're cooking stuff back here. But the whole point of the whole thing here is you're not wanting to move these and cook somewhere else with it when you made a dang slide out that in and out in the freaking van. So you want this to work. So basically, got to swap them back around. Got to move this to back here and then take all this and put it back there. This will fit under the bed and you'll be able to use and cook on it. And you got the left burner here that you can cook where it's a little more far away from the bed. We want to be able to use our shelf. We're going to swap stuff around and then see how it works out. So stay tuned. All right, we got everything pulled off. Now we're gonna start putting everything back on. This end piece here is just gonna screw on the end, and that's gonna keep the grill from sliding. The thing's heavy enough. I think it's gonna go nowhere. You just gotta keep the feet from moving. All right, ta-da! Magic trick, got it swapped around. So I think we're a little more usable with it like this. We can still get to our latch buttons started. Everything still slides in. But we got it swapped back around, so that's pretty cool. So we got the slide out completed. We got our Coleman 2-burner camping stove, as well as a 17-inch Blackstone. We got us some propane hoses off Amazon and adapters as well to be able to make this 90 connection and go into our hose, which that hose is also part of this split here, which it has the control valves on it. Let's get around here. Which we got some on-off valves that split it to where it can go to each side, and the propane coming in from over here on our 11-pound bottle, which we still got it mounted in, but we got it going up and running across over to the splitter, which it then runs the full pressure propane from the tank to both regulators for each grill. So we still got regulator in on this one. So, which we got the tank over here, to run our hot water heater. And so we have the a Y splitter that can be used on this too, so we could run to both heaters and the grill. So far, gotta get it out and get some use on it, but I think we're liking how it's doing so far. So, thing slides in and out perfect, works great. Definitely a great addition to the van. We still got a spot next to the electrical system where it slides in. You can still put basically a milk crate size right there, like it's like 12 by 12. And then we can still slide in all of our storage crates and everything for all our gear and equipment and stuff over on this side. So makes it perfect, makes it where it's usable, makes it accessible, makes it where you pull over, grill your own dang hot dog instead of buying one for $5. If you don't got it where you can use it, you don't. So definitely sweet. Shout out to Blackstone. You guys make a killer grill. Shoot me one, I'll use it. Thanks. Willderjess Adventures. You guys check us out. Check out the grill. Links in the description for everything we used. If you consider building this thing yourself and you have any comments or questions, shoot us a comment down in the chat box. We'll feel free to help you out. Willderjess Adventures. Adios.